I never thought the day would come when my parents would just throw me out like I didn't exist. You've done nothing with your life, Alex, my dad said, his voice colder than ice. We can't keep wasting our money on a failure. I felt my stomach twist. I'm trying, Dad. I really am. I just need more time. Time. Time doesn't pay the bills, Alex, my mom interrupted, her arms crossed. We've done everything for you. We've had every chance. I couldn't believe what I was hearing, every chance. Dad, I'm barely 24. I've been trying to find a stable job. I haven't working. Looking, you're useless. My dad cut me off, shaking his head. Useless. Pack your things. You're done here. What? My voice cracked. You're serious? You're just kicking me out? Yes, my mom said flatly. We can't have dead weight in this family anymore. You're on your own, Alex. Why? Felt the walls closing in. The house I'd grown up in, the kitchen where I ate breakfast every morning, the couch I crashed on watching late-night movies, they were all suddenly alien to me. I don't understand, I whispered. I've always done my best. Best isn't good enough, my dad said. Not here, not ever. I sank into the armchair, feeling tears burn my eyes. I save it, my mom said. Your excuses don't matter anymore. I grabbed my backpack, shoving a few clothes inside. Everything felt surreal. My friends weren't here. My life wasn't here. Only my parents' cold, accusing eyes. I walked out the door, and the city felt bigger and crueler than ever. The streets were alive, but I felt invisible. People hustled past me, but I couldn't see them. I couldn't hear them. I just kept walking, trying to make sense of how everything I knew had turned against me in one cruel morning. I called Liam, my best friend since high school. My thumb hovered over the screen for a few seconds before I pressed call. Alex. His voice sounded cheerful, but I could hear the concern underneath. Liam, I don't know where to go. My voice cracked. Hey, calm down. What happened? They kicked me out. Mom and Dad. They said I'm worthless. Threw me out. I have nowhere. Whoa. Slow down. Breathe. You're not alone, okay? You can come stay at my place for a while. My couch is yours, man. Don't panic. I felt a small spark in the darkness. You really mean it? Of course I do. You're my friend. No way I'd let you sleep on the streets. Thanks, Liam. I don't even know what to say. You don't have to say anything. Just get over here. I'll make some instant noodles. You're safe for now. I hung up and started walking. The city seemed endless, but the thought of Liam's couch made the journey a little less terrifying. Still, bitterness gnawed at me. My parents had erased me from their world so easily, it hurt like nothing I'd ever felt. I passed the corner store we used to hang out at, the park where I used to skateboard, and the coffee shop where I'd meet friends for cheap lattes. Every familiar place felt like a reminder that I had nowhere to belong now. Finally, I reached Liam's apartment. He opened the door before I even knocked. There he is, he said with a grin. Don't tell me you walked all this way with that look on your face. I don't know what to do, Liam, I admitted, collapsing onto his couch. They just threw me out. I don't have money. I don't have a job. I don't have anything. You have me, Liam said, tossing me a blanket, and we'll figure the rest out together. You'll always get back up, you'll see. I lay there staring at the ceiling, trying not to cry. He was right, maybe. I'd nowhere to go, nothing to my name, but Liam's words were a lifeline in the middle of the storm. For the first time that day, I felt slightly human again. And yet, the bitter taste of failure lingered on my tongue, whispering that this was only the beginning of a very long, very painful journey. Asterisk, I thought the worst was behind me. I thought losing my parents' approval was the bottom, but that was before I saw Jessica. I was walking down the street, checking my phone for job alerts, when I spotted her laughing with Ryan. My chest tightened, my stomach dropped, and I froze mid-step. She leaned close to him, the kind of closeness we used to share. Jessica, I called out, my voice harsher than I intended. She turned, eyes widening in surprise. Alex, what are you doing here? What am I doing here? I repeated, stepping closer. I could ask you the same thing. And Ryan? You too? Ryan didn't even look guilty. He just shrugged, like he had no idea I existed. Alex, hey, it's not what it looks like. Not what it looks like, I snapped. Are you kidding me? You're holding hands in the park we used to hang out in laughing like nothing ever happened? Nothing I ever meant to you mattered? Jessica's face twisted, guilt and defensiveness battling for control. Alex, we didn't mean for you to find out like this. It just happened. Just happened. I laughed bitterly. Do you even hear yourself? Just happened? We were together for 2 years? 2 years, Jessica. What? And you just happened to fall for my best friend? Ryan finally looked at me. Alex, listen, you didn't what? Ryan, did you think I'd never see it? Did you think you could betray me and it wouldn't matter? My hands shook, and I had to bite my lip to stop shouting further. Jessica stepped forward, reaching for my arm.
Alex, please calm down.
You're overreacting. Overreacting. I pulled away.
You're with him.
You betrayed me. You, Ryan, my so-called best friend, you're supposed to have my back. My back. And you just turned on me like it was nothing. Ryan looked down, avoiding my eyes. Alex, I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't know how. To tell you, you didn't know how to tell me? I laughed, but it came out hollow. You knew exactly what you were doing. Every laugh, every text, every secret meeting, everything you hid from me was deliberate. Jessica stepped closer again. Alex, we didn't plan this. I swear. You have to believe me. I shook my head, backing away. Believe you? How could I ever believe you again? You both of you destroyed everything. Every promise, every memory, every dream I had about us. Gone. Ryan tried to speak again, but I cut him off. Don't say a word. Every excuse, every apology. It's all too late. You broke me, both of you. Jessica's eyes glistened, and for a moment I saw the person I thought I loved. But then the image twisted into betrayal. Alex. I know. I don't want to hear it. I trusted you, gave you everything I had, and this is how you repay me. My voice cracked, and I felt tears prickle. Ryan finally walked away. Shoulders slumped, muttering something I couldn't catch. Jessica called after him, but I didn't care. My world had tilted on its axis, and I couldn't follow them anymore. Sank onto a nearby bench, feeling the weight of the city pressing down. People passed by, laughing, talking, living lives that felt alien to me. How could someone so close, someone I loved, betray me like this? I can't. I can't let this happen again, I whispered to myself. I can't be powerless. Not ever again. The betrayal burned in my chest, sharp and relentless. But beneath the pain, a seed began to grow and need to take control. To never allow anyone to hold this power over me again. Not my parents, not Jessica, not Ryan. I clenched my fists, my nails digging into my palms. I'm not going to cry in the streets. I'm not going to beg anyone for forgiveness. I'll rise. When I do, they'll see what happens when you betray me. Jessica lingered, watching me from across the street. Alex, please, just talk. I stood abruptly, anger flaring. No, Jessica. No talking. Not now. Not ever. You wanted me gone? Fine, but don't expect me to beg for scraps of your fake remorse. I walked away, each step heavy but deliberate. My heart throbbed, a mix of pain and a new fierce determination. Betrayal had stripped me bare, but it had also shown me one. Truth, I had to be strong for myself. I didn't know what I would do next, but I knew one thing for sure. I would never allow anyone to control me again. And as I disappeared into the crowd, the city felt colder, lonelier, and somehow more promising. I spent the night in another cheap motel. It's a kind where the sheets never smelled clean and the carpet had mysterious stains. I tossed my backpack onto the bed, trying not to think about the hours I'd spent wandering the streets, scrounging. For money? Hey, you're late, the clerk muttered. When I went to check in, barely looking at me. I don't have much, I said, holding up a few crumpled bills. Just a couple nights. Fine, just don't cause trouble, he said, already turning away. Trouble. I thought about how it seemed to follow me everywhere. I sank onto the bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering how my life had spiraled so fast. My parents had kicked me out. Jessica and Ryan had betrayed me. And now, here I was, a stranger to my own city. Pretending I had somewhere to belong. I muttered to myself, I thought I could trust people. I thought loyalty meant something. The words tasted bitter. Loyalty didn't matter when everyone I cared about turned their backs. The next morning, I wandered into a corner store to grab some breakfast. The cashier barely looked at me, and I felt invisible again. Then I spotted a wallet on the floor, half hidden under the rack of gum. Stomach tightened. I picked it up. "Excuse me," I called. "Does this belong to anyone?" No one answered. My hands shook as I opened it. There was a small stack of cash inside. My first thought was hunger. My second thought was a line I'd promised myself I'd never cross. Survival. What would Grandpa say? I whispered to myself. My grandfather had always been the one person who made me feel like I mattered, even if only for brief summers at his house. I closed the wallet and left it on the counter, deciding some principles were worth more than a sandwich. "It's not my money," I muttered. "I can't." The cashier shot me a suspicious glance. "Thanks, kid. People like you are rare," nodded, swallowing the lump in my throat. The city felt heavier now, like every step reminded me of how powerless I was. That night I ended up at an abandoned part of town, sitting on a curb, wondering if I'd ever find a way out of this. I whispered aloud, "Why me?
Oh.
Why does it feel like everyone I love betrays me?" Then I remembered Grandpa's old house. I hadn't been there since he passed. Maybe, just maybe, it would remind me there was something worth holding on to. I made my way there quietly, avoiding the creaking floorboards and broken gate. The house smelled like old wood and dust, familiar and haunting at the same time. Through the rooms, touching the furniture he had once polished with pride, the kitchen smelled faintly of his cooking, even though it had been years. "Grandpa," I said softly, "I wish you were here." I found his study, the one room that had always felt like a sanctuary. The desk still had his old papers neatly stacked. I rifled through them, careful not to disturb too much. "Safety deposit box," I whispered, reading the words on a folder. My heartbeat picked up. It left something here, something hidden. Maybe it was nothing. Maybe it was everything. I opened a drawer, finding a small key taped to an old photograph of him and me at the beach. I held it, feeling a pang of hope I hadn't felt in months. "I don't know what this is, Grandpa," I said aloud. I'll find out. I promise." For the first time in days, the cold, hopeless weight in my chest eased slightly. The city, the betrayal, the empty motels, they weren't gone. But there was a flicker of light now, something I could hold on to. Whispered again, maybe. Maybe this is my chance to rise. Maybe this is the start of something else. I left the house quietly, holding the key tightly. The streets were dark, but the memory of Grandpa's voice, his wisdom, even his smile, felt like a shield around me. For the first time in what felt like forever, I didn't feel completely alone. I still had nowhere to sleep. I still had no money, no family, no girlfriend, no friends who wouldn't betray me. But I had a key. I had a secret. And for now, that was enough. I muttered, "I'll figure this out. I have to. I can't stay broken forever." And as I walked back into the dark city streets, I realized rock bottom wasn't the end. It was the beginning of something I hadn't yet imagined. Asterisk, I stared at the key in my hand like it was a miracle, Grandpa's old safety deposit box. My pulse raced as I walked into the bank, every step echoing in the marble lobby. "Good morning," I said to the teller, trying to keep my voice steady. "I need to access box 427. She looked at my ID, then raised an eyebrow. "That box has been inactive for years. May I ask who you are?" "I'm Alex. Alex Thompson," I said. "Grandfather's grandson. It's been passed to me after his passing." She hesitated, then motioned me to wait. I sat, heart hammering. Minutes later, a man approached, tall, sharply dressed, glasses perched on his nose. Mr. Thompson? He asked, his tone skeptical. I'm Mr. Hargrove, the manager. I need to verify your identity before we proceed. I understand, I said, handing over the key and the documents I'd found in Grandpa's study. Everything should be in order. He scanned them slowly, squinting, then leaned back. You're telling me your grandfather left you access to this box and the papers here are legitimate? Yes, I said. Everything was in his files. It's all mine now. He pursed his lips, then gestured for me to follow. We walked through the security doors, and my stomach dropped when I saw the row of safety deposit boxes. My hand shook as I slid the key into the lock. The drawer clicked open, and inside was a single envelope with my name on it. Opened it carefully. $3.20. Billion, I whispered, staring at the documents. My eyes widened. This can't be real. Mr. Hargrove cleared his throat behind me, I must admit. I didn't expect this. Are you certain you're eligible for all of it? I think so, I stammered. Grandpa wrote everything in his will, and there's legal proof here. He adjusted his glasses. This is unprecedented for someone your age. Usually inheritance this large involves lawyers, trusts, audits. Are you prepared to manage this? I don't even know where to start, I admitted. I've been broke, homeless, everything. And now I trailed off, shaking my head. Mr. Hargrove studied me. You realize how much power this gives you? Billions, Alex? You could change the world or destroy your life in a heartbeat. I know, I said quietly, overwhelming. But Grandpa trusted me. He wanted me to have it. He nodded slowly. I'll help guide you through the process. But I have to warn you, not everyone will accept your story without scrutiny. The world can be cruel, especially to someone suddenly wealthy. Understand, I said, gripping the papers tighter. But I'm not going to let anyone walk over me again. Wise, he muttered. You'll need to act carefully, wisely, if you want this to last. I took a deep breath, trying to absorb the reality. Grandpa, I hope I make you proud. You will, Alex, he said softly. You're here. That says something. Left the bank in a daze, walking down the street as if the world had tilted on its axis. Every face, every car, every sound felt amplified. $3.2 billion. My mind kept repeating it like a mantra. I muttered to myself, I can't believe this. I'm not powerless anymore. I have a chance now. Back at Grandpa's house, I rifled through more of his documents, legal papers explaining how the wealth was structured, trusts, stocks, real estate. It was all mine, if I could manage it correctly. My pulse raced at the possibilities. Maybe this is my chance, I whispered aloud. To rise, to take control, to make sure no one ever hurts me like they did. I paused, looking at his old study, the sunlight filtering through dusty blinds. The room felt alive again, like Grandpa was there, urging me forward. I won't waste this, I promised him. I'll do it right. I'll make it count. Even as excitement built, a shadow of doubt lingered. Could I handle it? Could someone like me, broken and betrayed, really manage billions without screwing everything up? I muttered, I have to try. I can't fail. Not now. The thought of Jessica, my parents, Ryan, all those who doubted me, stirred something deeper. Anger, yes, but also a burning determination. They wouldn't recognize me in a year, not if I played this right. I glanced at Grandpa's photograph on the desk. I won't let you down. I'll take this and build something they'll regret. Ever ignoring me? I spent the night organizing his files, reading every detail, mapping out what needed to be done first. By dawn, I had a plan, small steps. Careful moves, but the weight of possibility thrilled me. For the first time in months, I felt powerful. Not arrogant, not careless, but capable. The helplessness that had defined me for so long was gone, replaced by focus, clarity, and a dangerous spark of ambition. This is the beginning, I whispered. Everything changes now. And as I stared at the sun rising over the city, I finally believed it. The boy who had nothing, who was betrayed, abandoned, and broken. He was gone. This new Alex had the world at his fingertips. I sat in Grandpa's study, papers and files spread across the desk, my laptop open. $3.2 billion. It wasn't just money, it was freedom, power, a second chance. I leaned back and muttered, time to make them all pay. Maybe just show. Then what they lost? I started with investments. Stocks, startups, real estate, everything Grandpa had touched. I called the first company on the list, my hands trembling slightly. Hello, this is Alex Thompson, I said, keeping my voice steady. I'd like to discuss acquiring a controlling stake in your firm. There was silence on the other end. Then a man cleared his throat. Alex Thompson. The grandson of Edward Thompson? Yes, I said, hiding my thrill. He entrusted me with his holdings. I'd like to continue his work, invest in growth.
What?
Role in management. He hesitated, then said, I need to speak with my board. This is unexpected. Take your time, I replied, but I assure you I'm serious. We can schedule a meeting soon. I hung up, heart racing. Every call, every email, every meeting I scheduled felt like stepping into a new life. And yet the sting of betrayal stayed with me. Parents, Jessica, Ryan, every insult, every betrayal fueled my drive. I reached out to one of Grandpa's old associates, a man named Mr. Levin. I'm Alex Thompson. I said, Grandpa spoke highly of you. I'd like your advice on acquiring new partnerships. He laughed softly. Alex, you're very young. Managing billions isn't something most people can handle at your age. Are you sure? I'm sure, I said firmly. I don't have time for doubt. Grandpa trusted me. I intend to honor that trust. He studied me over the phone. Very well, I'll help. But remember, the world doesn't forgive mistakes easily. I'll be careful, I promised, my pulse quickening. By the next week, I had offers from multiple companies. Former rivals who had dismissed me as poor, powerless, and insignificant suddenly treated me differently. Calls, emails, meetings, they all wanted a piece of me now. I walked into a boardroom for one of my first face-to-face meetings. The executives stared at me, some smirking. You're the kid from the street, one man asked, his voice dripping with condescension. Yes, I said, my voice calm. And now I control the assets your company relies on. I'm here to discuss terms that benefit both of us. They blinked, and I saw the recognition that I wasn't the same person they remembered. Their arrogance had blinded them. Now they had to negotiate with me. Later, I called Liam. You wouldn't believe the looks I got today, I said, grinning. I can imagine, he said. So, are you feeling better? Powerful yet? Yeah, I admitted. Powerful, but not satisfied. Not fully. I want to see who really respected me for me, and who only bowed to money. Sounds like revenge, he teased. Maybe I said quietly. Or maybe it's justice. Either way, it's not about hurting anyone. It's about showing them I'm not weak anymore. Emails, phone calls, and strategy sessions consumed me. I invested in tech startups, real estate, and energy companies. Every decision was deliberate, every move calculated. Every time a former rival reached out, I felt that familiar surge of satisfaction. Yet, at night, when I was alone, I'd replay my past in my head. My parents cold and dismissive, Jessica and Ryan betraying me. I whispered, I'll never be that helpless again. Not ever. One evening, a minor business rival, Mr. Cole, called me. Alex, we need to discuss the merger proposal, he said cautiously. Yes, I replied. But let me remind you, underestimating me isn't an option. I expect full cooperation and transparency. Anything less, and I walk away. He swallowed audibly. Of course, Alex understood. I hung up and smiled, a mixture of triumph and control. I could feel it, the balance of power slowly tipping in my favor. But still, a question lingered in my mind. Should I use this power to crush those who doubted me, or to build something meaningful? I whispered to myself, revenge is tempting, but maybe honor is better. Maybe I'll rise above them and still win. Days blurred into weeks. I grew more confident, more strategic. I learned quickly which people to trust, which doors to knock on, and which to ignore. Liam called one night. "You sound different, Alex. Like you're not the same guy who was kicked out by his parents." "I'm not," I said firmly. "I'm stronger. I'm smarter. I'm done being powerless. And I won't forget anyone who tried to keep me down." "But you're not bitter?" he asked. "Bitter keeps you stuck," I said. "I feel it. Sure, I'll channel it. Every insult, every betrayal, every rejection, it's fuel. It's all it is." I leaned back in my chair, looking out the window at the city lights. My empire was just beginning, but the boy who had nothing, who had been abandoned, betrayed, and humiliated, he was gone. In his place stood someone unstoppable. "This," I whispered, "is only the beginning." CHP.6, I smiled to myself as I sipped my coffee, laptop open in front of me. Months of planning, quiet investments, subtle moves, all coming together. Today would be interesting. I dialed Ryan's number first. It rang twice before he picked up. "Hello?" His voice was cautious, guarded. "Ryan," I said calmly. "We need to talk about your recent business moves." There was a pause. "Alex, what are you talking about?" "You know exactly what I'm talking about," I replied. "The deal you tried to push last month. Let's just say it didn't go unnoticed. I have a few people involved who are not happy with your decisions." "Alex, I don't save it," I interrupted. "I'm not here to argue. Just be careful. Actions have consequences." He swallowed audibly. I see. Okay." I hung up, letting a small smirk spread across my face. He didn't know it yet, but the board meeting he'd been confident about yesterday, the shareholders had voted against him. Publicly. His face on the company newsletter announcing a failed merger. Priceless. Next, I called Jessica Alex. She answered, voice nervous. "Yes," I said softly. "Hi. I just wanted to check in, see how your projects are going." Fine. I'm managing," she said, but the tremor in her voice betrayed her. "I hope everything is accurate," I said. "We don't want any mistakes to make waves you can't control." "Alex, what do you mean?" "We'll see," I said, hanging it before she could protest. Her reputation, carefully built over months, was about to take a hit. A single investor meeting I'd influenced had gone south quietly. No physical harm, no violence, just reality catching up. Karma. I leaned back in my chair, watching the city outside. My parents' faces came to mind. The smug, cold looks they used to give me when I struggled, when I had nothing. I smiled. Later that afternoon, I received a call from a financial advisor in their circle. "Mr. Thompson." "Yes," I said. "Casually, you might want to check on your parents' investments," he said carefully. "Some unusual transfers have been happening." I felt a thrill, a mix of glee and satisfaction. They would find out soon enough. By evening, I visited the cafe my parents frequented, pretending to be just another customer. I watched them, from a distance, coffee in hand, chatting with their friends. Then the whispers started. "Did you hear?" one woman said. "Edward Thompson's grandson, Alex. He's taken over the company and increased its value threefold in months." "Really?" my mother whispered. I could see her eyes widen. "Yes," the woman said. "And apparently he's invested in several properties they used to own. People say he's unstoppable." My father's jaw tightened. I could see the shock, the disbelief, the shame. I stayed hidden, watching every micro-expression. They, he. "How?" my mother stammered. "They underestimated him," the woman said, oblivious to me nearby. Completely. I sipped my coffee quietly. The power, the control it, was intoxicating. But as I watched them shrink under the weight of my success, a thought struck me. Power feels sweet, yes, but it's hollow without peace. Later that night, I called Liam. "I saw them today," I admitted. "Parents, Jessica, Ryan, they're finally realizing what they did. The reactions, it's satisfying but also strange. I feel empty. Empty, he asked. Isn't that what you wanted? Revenge? Partly, I said. But it's not the same as overcoming it. Watching them squirm, knowing I'm above it, it's sweet, yes, but it doesn't fill the void. I still have to figure out how to move forward without letting anger rule me. It was quiet for a moment. Maybe that's the real victory, not just revenge. But keeping your head clear while the world catches up. I nodded. Gloat. I need to focus on me, my goals, my future. Not just punishing them. Even as I made that promise to myself, I couldn't ignore the texts coming in. Ryan's voice messages were short, panicked. Alex, I messed up. Can we talk? Jessica's emails were desperate, polite, apologetic. I realize my mistakes, Alex. I regret everything. Please, I just want to explain. I stared at the screen, reading and rereading them. Part of me wanted to respond, to yell, to gloat. Didn't know, I whispered. This isn't about satisfying old grudges. It's about moving on and making sure I never feel powerless again. I shut the laptop, leaning back in my chair. The city lights twinkled outside my window, vibrant and alive. My heartbeat was steady, controlled. I had orchestrated the subtle revenge perfectly, without stooping to cruelty. Jessica and Ryan faced consequences. My parents felt regret. And I had the satisfaction of seeing karma unfold, but the hollow feeling remained. A reminder that power alone isn't everything. Peace of mind, focus, and control. That's what truly matters. I whispered to myself, I'm rising. And I'll rise higher, but I won't let anger rule me. I'll keep my eyes on the real prize. I walked up to the front gate of my parents' house, the same gate that had once felt like a prison to me. My shoes clicked against the stone path, every step echoing like a heartbeat of purpose. Okay, they had no idea I was coming, no idea the boy they had kicked out was now someone they couldn't ignore, Mom. Dad, I called as I entered the living room. My mother jumped, clutching her pearls. Alex, what? What are you doing here? I smiled faintly, calm, composed. I came to talk, face to face. My father's eyes narrowed. Talk about... What? You disappeared months ago. No one knew where you were. I know, I said softly, and I was figuring things out. I've learned a lot. About trust, about loyalty, about what it means to be powerless and what it feels like to rise from that. My mother's hands trembled. Alex, we were worried. We thought I'd fail? I interrupted, my voice steady. Or thought I'd beg. To come back? Because that's what I remember? That's what I felt when you kicked me out. Useless, worthless, nothing. My father flinched. Alex, that wasn't. We didn't mean it like that. We wanted you to be strong. I laughed softly, a bitter edge. By abandoning me? By letting me rot on the streets while you lived in comfort? My mother's lips quivered. I didn't know what else to do, we thought. We thought you'd make mistakes. You're so impulsive. I shook my head. Impulsive. Maybe, but look at me now. I'm not that helpless boy anymore. I've learned. I've grown. And yes, I have power now. Real power. Money, influence, control. And it's all because I refuse to let your words define me. My father's jaw tightened. Alex, we heard about your wealth. Yes, you did, I said calmly. I suppose it surprised you. Shocking, even. The boy you dismissed, suddenly someone you can't ignore. My mother's voice cracked. We didn't know it would be like this. We were wrong. Wrong, I repeated. Wrong doesn't even begin to cover it. You abandoned me, dismissed me, let others betray me, while you looked away. You think a simple apology changes that? My father cleared his throat. We want to make amends, and we can help now. We can support you. I shook my head slowly. Support me? That door closed a long time ago? I don't need your help. I don't need your approval. I never have. And I never will. There was a tense silence. My parents struggled to meet my eyes. They wanted tears, apologies, submission, but I gave them none. I was calm, collected, a man in control. The boy they had scorned was gone. "Do you even realize," I said softly, "how it felt? To have nothing, to have no one, to have everyone you trusted turn away? That feeling, it stays with you, drives you, and it made me stronger than I ever imagined." My mother whispered, "Alex, we're proud of you, I suppose. We just wished you wished what?" I asked, leaning back slightly. "That I'd stayed weak? That I'd begged for crumbs? That I'd stayed a shadow of the person you could never see me as?" They didn't answer. They couldn't. The truth hung in the room, heavy and undeniable. I took a deep breath, letting the satisfaction settle quietly inside me. Not gloating, not cruel, just contentment. I had faced the people who had hurt me the most, and I was unshaken. I had the power, yes, but I also had the clarity that came from surviving everything they threw at me. "Alex," my father started. Again, voice low. "I'm done listening to excuses," I said firmly. "I'm done waiting for validation. I'm done feeling like a boy who can be dismissed." My mother nodded, tears glistening. We understand. We're sorry." "I hear you," I said quietly. "But hearing is not enough. Actions matter. I've acted. I built my life from nothing, despite you, despite everyone who doubted me. That's what counts." I glanced around the living room, remembering every harsh word, every cold glance, every night I had cried alone. And now I felt free. The chains of their rejection had broken, and I was walking forward on my own terms. "Go on," I said. Finally standing, "Say what you need to say, then we're done. It's conversation. It's closure for me." My father swallowed hard. We hope you can forgive us someday." "I don't know about forgiveness," I said honestly. "Maybe, maybe not. Right now I just move forward. That's enough." I turned to leave, calm, collected, unshaken. The boy they discarded was gone. The man they couldn't control now walked away with his head high, unburdened, free. Outside, the sun was setting, casting a golden light over the driveway. I took a deep breath and whispered to myself, "I survived them. I survived everything. And now I rise completely on my own." CHP 8, I stood on the balcony of my new office, looking down at the city lights. Months of planning, investing, and quiet strategy had finally paid off. The empire Grandpa had trusted me with wasn't just restored. It was mine, shaped by my vision, my will. "Alex." Liam's voice came from behind me, full of excitement. "You have to see this. Our first big bonus just cleared. Everyone on your team is thrilled." Smiled, clapping him on the shoulder. "You earned it, Liam. You stuck by me when no one else did. This is as much yours as it is mine." He laughed, a mix of relief and pride. "I can't believe it. Look at us. From that tiny apartment to this." "Yeah," I said softly, eyes scanning the skyline. "We've come a long way. And it feels right." Finally, Liam leaned against the railing. "So, what now? You've crushed your enemies, proven yourself to your parents, taken control. What's next for Alex Thompson?" I paused, thinking now. I live, focus on people who matter, loyalty, trust, happiness. I don't want revenge anymore, not like before. That part of me is done. He raised an eyebrow. Done? That was the fun part. I laughed lightly. Maybe. But it's empty fun. Satisfaction fades quickly. What I want now is peace. Real peace. Just then, she walked in. Confident, warm. Presence that made the room feel lighter. She held a folder of business proposals but smiled at me genuinely, without hesitation, without expectation. "Alex," she said, "I heard about your new ventures. Impressive work. Thanks." I said, feeling something unfamiliar. Flutter, curiosity, comfort. "I appreciate it. You've seen my work?" "Yes," she said, "and I respect it. Not because of the money or power, but because you built it yourself. That's rare. I nodded slowly, taking in her words. Respect. Genuine respect. Not pity, not jealousy, not manipulation. Just honesty. You seem different, she added. Strong but calm. Confident, without arrogance. It's refreshing. I smiled, something inside me loosening. I suppose I've learned a few lessons. About loyalty, betrayal, about who's worth my time. And she asked, tilting her head, curious, and I'm done with people who hurt me for their own gain, I said quietly. I've finally learned to protect myself. Without losing who I am? She nodded, a subtle understanding in her eyes. That's rare too. Most people let anger define them. I looked down, recalling every betrayal, every insult, every failure. Jessica, Ryan, my parents. All those moments had shaped me, but I wasn't chained to them anymore. You're different, she said again, softly. But in a good way. Not bitter. Not jaded, no, I said. Not bitter, just aware, grateful even. I survived. I rebuilt. And now I can choose what matters. Liam chuckled behind me. Sounds like someone's getting a new chapter in life. I glanced at him and then at her, a spark of hope stirring. Maybe I am. Maybe I finally get to focus on something real. Someone real. Loyalty, trust, happiness. Things I didn't. No, I deserved until now. She smiled again, warm and sincere. Then let's see where that goes. Alex. I felt a calm settle over me, heavier and more fulfilling than any thrill of revenge. I had power, yes. Influence, yes. I also had perspective, clarity, and choice. I could walk away from toxicity, embrace new beginnings, and surround myself with people who mattered. I turned back to Liam. You know, I couldn't have done any of this without you. Truly, you're not just my friend, you're family. Liam grinned, punching my shoulder lightly. Family, huh? I'll take it. But seriously, this feels good, doesn't it? What it does, I admitted. More than I expected. Satisfaction from revenge fades quickly, but peace lasts. And I finally have it. I turned back to her, meeting her gaze. I don't know exactly where this goes, I said honestly, but for the first time, I'm excited to find out, to build something genuine, together. Her eyes lit up with warmth. And that's all that matters, right? I nodded. Exactly. That's all that matters. As the city lights twinkled below, I realized something important. Power is fleeting, revenge is sweet but temporary, and wealth is meaningless without trust and love. What I had now, loyal friends, respect, possibility for genuine connection, that was the real triumph. Here's to a new life, whispered mostly to myself, but also to them. Liam smiled, she smiled, and I felt a quiet strength in my chest. No more looking back. No more regrets. Just a future I chose for myself, bright, honest, and full of possibility. And as the night deepened, I finally allowed myself to hope, not for revenge, not for recognition, but for happiness. True, happiness.